Well, the issue of resumption of schools in Edo State, it's what we are looking at this morning. And of course, today being the third day of resumption. As a matter of fact, it was on Monday, the 6th day of September, that schools in Edo State, came back on board after about a month of recess, a month of holiday at home. Now, this resumption is actually the very first term, the 2021-2022 academic session. And of course, it's one resumption that a lot of people are beginning to look at it differently. Because if you look across the country, perhaps you may want to say that we are having staggered resumption. Now, it's on the papers this morning that because of insecurity challenges in Abuja, schools may not be resuming until the 19th day of September this year. Now, the question that somebody is asking is that by on the 19th, will the insecurity issues in Abuja, will they have been solved? Well, that remains one question that you may want to find answers to. Well, to look at schools resumption and also addressing some of the attendance challenges this morning, we are so privileged to have Honorable Ruben Ekpome Ekoswai, who's the chairman of NABS. NABS stands for the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Edo State. Sir, you're welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
And also, we are so privileged to have Comrade Jude Imagwe, a former special assistant to the presidency on student matters and also a public affairs analyst. Comrade, I know you're very tight schedule. You found time to come to honor this invitation. A very big thank you for coming this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
All right. Now, gentlemen out there, let's set the ball rolling as we take a look at schools resumption. Now, Honorable Ruben, so many accusations, coming from different angles here and there, because parents will always talk when schools resume, not because they just want to talk, but because, concerns here and there. The school fees that they paid last session is not the one that they are paying this time. And of course, books, the prices of books just go on high. And also, school fees, it's something that 1-2 weeks into resumption, schools, most especially private schools, they expect you to start paying the school fees. Now, I don't know how you people at NABS, how you are reacting to all these concerns.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You said it all, people must talk. Definitely the school fees is there. The books have to be bought. I don't really know where the complaint is coming from. Is it the books are on the higher side, or proprietor increase their school fees, or they are not supposed to buy books, or they are supposed to be tuition free? I don't understand the complaint.
Let's start it from schools increasing school fees, because you don't have control over books, but you have control over your school fees.
Yes, yes. In school fees, schools that increase their school fees, I don't think they are on a wrong track. My brother, school fees, it is through school fees you generate money to also pay your staff. 2 years ago, you could get a teacher. Okay, let me manage with you. Tell you I'll take 20,000, 25,000. But today, the reverse is the case. What schools spend on increases on daily basis. But our school fees is not like that. A marker, blackboard marker you use, maybe you buy a packet before now, maybe 2.5. Go to the market today, they'll tell you 4.5. Or those who still use chalk. Packet of chalk you buy today, 120 naira. Next tomorrow it will be 500 naira. So where do you get this money from? Is it not still the same school fees? Yeah. Is it not the same market you and I, the proprietor, attend? Is it not the same filling station we buy for? You see, things are increasing, but parents don't want to accept the fact that school owners also spend money they got from school fees on the same markets they attend. Yeah,
we know, Honorable, but what we are looking at, I mean, for laymen like us, of course, lay parents like us that want to do their own little calculation. Now, you pay a teacher that attends to like 50 students, 30,000 naira. And of course, each of the child in the class pays 30,000 naira as school fees. Let's say you have 25,000 naira. That's going to, you're going to come up with a large sum of money, and that teacher takes those students. At the end of the month, you pay the teacher just 30,000 naira. Now, this time you are saying that okay, not 30,000 naira again as not 50,000 naira again as school fees, perhaps 60,000. Now, your proportion of increasing the teacher's salary is just only by with 2,000 or 5,000 naira. How do you look at all these things? Because these are some of the concerns that parents are reacting to.
Thank you. I like this conversation because you are a good mathematician. You calculate what comes to the school, isn't it? But you don't have a full idea of what the school gives out. You just talked about you have 50 students in a class. You pay this, you pay that to a teacher, isn't it? But you, as a parent, you pay for marker separately. You remember the same school fees you used to get the marker? You remember the same school fees you used to pay your bills, electricity? You remember the school fees you used to pay, I don't want to talk about government taxes, local government most especially. No schools have ever come to you, pay for waste management. Is there any level like that? So it is all this money, no other source of income in the school other than these school fees.
But the children, parents at times pay for all these little charges here and there. You have development fee and all that. So all these things are hidden. Let me pause you. Perhaps Comrade Jude Imagwe may also want to react to, because he has been a special assistant to the presidency on student matters, and is so very much abreast with some of these issues that we are looking at. But Comrade, let's take it from what is going on now. The COVID-19 situation is hitting states across the country. Edo State, the COVID-19 is on the rise. Just within the last 24 hours, we understand that 4 persons died in Edo State. Now, the great challenge for students, children, pupils that are going back to school is the COVID-19 situation, and also for government too. Yeah. You are very abreast with government activities. Now, how can these children, the school authority, the parents go through these whole challenges as we talk about it?
Now, the first part, before I go to respond to that, the question you just asked, like what my brother, the proprietor, president or chairman has just mentioned, is unfortunate that we have to be dealing with challenges that has to do with school fees and no school fees for children in primary education. The social responsibility of government is basic primary education. Yeah. And now when a government has a problem, not when I say government, I'm talking about the generality of government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. When we have a problem with ensuring that we can guarantee basic education for kids in primary school and secondary level, we have a problem. And when there is failure in public education, that is when private institutions, private education begin to take the shine. And you begin to have this high level of fees, tuition charges, and other. If our public schools are working effectively, I do not think that we'll be having the challenge of saying that parents need to pay that high amount of money in private schools.
Why do
in a developed world, people struggle to have their kids in public schools than even in private schools. But in Nigeria, we struggle to have our kids in private schools than in public school. It means something is wrong. What is in public schools and what is in private schools? What is the production of pupils that graduate from private schools and public school? The difference about it now is the practice, the policies and the practice. Now, so if you have a public school that have effective practicing, ranging from the curriculum to the teachers, when you talk about teachers, you talk about their welfare, you talk about the classrooms, you talk about the amount of persons that each classroom can be accommodating. Now you now understand that as we discuss presently, there is strong educational imbalance between the urban and the rural.
In other words,
yes,
between the rich and the poor.
Yeah. No, you don't have to say between the rich and the poor. Social economic status is another challenge. So when you say there is strong educational imbalance between the urban and the rural, you find out that in my local community, you can go to school, you find 50 kids in one class with only one teacher. And that teacher takes English, mathematics, physics, chemistry, and all the rest. Now, so who does that? There is nobody that is a master of all. You cannot be an English teacher, be a mathematics teacher, be a physics teacher, be a chemistry teacher, be a biology teacher.
History.
And history teacher. Then if you come to the cities, you find that you have about 10 teachers struggling to teach physics. So government must take strong steps in making policies that must balance education. Now, we will discuss that. But on the issue of the COVID, I feel there's a collective responsibility. It's unfortunate that probably the narrative that was sold initially when the COVID case came up is one that the public still do not want to accept.
Okay, let me pause you. I'll bring you back on that issue. Now, Honorable Ruben, what is your aim as experts in education? I mean, I'm always tempted to want to ask you the question, are you into this business to make money? Or you are into this business to solely, you know, contribute your own quota towards the development of the society? Because from the activities of some private schools, it appears that most private schools, I should say, they are just there to make money. Remember, I started by asking you the question, how are you people at your own association, the National Association of Private Proprietors, you know, how are you people reacting to some of these issues? Because there are allegations here and there that you are probably just out there to make money. Yeah.
That is, that is not true. Even by law, school is a social service. It's not supposed to be a business. It's a social service.
But you are into business.
No.
No, you are into business.
Let me explain. Let me explain. You call it business because the government of the day made the proprietors to name it as business. See, when you are not running business, you don't pay tax. Isn't it? But I don't think there is a sector that pay tax more than private schools.
But how much tax do you pay?
Sorry, I want to
say how much tax do you pay?
How much tax do private schools? No, wait, let me explain. No, let me explain.
How much tax do you pay compared to the proceed you get?
No, that is not true. Let me tell you. We pay multiple taxes. Just put Board of Internal Revenue aside.
Do you pay tax per child, or you pay tax as an entity?
Let me explain.
Okay.
In this establishment, if you want to pay tax, you'll be assessed, isn't it? Private schools don't pay tax based on assessment. I said it here the other time. We pay what I call estimated bill. You are not making profit by tax law. You are not supposed to pay tax. I don't use schools in a high-profile school to judge every other school.
Are you saying that private schools don't make profits?
No, I was going to say something around that. Let me
that private schools don't make profit.
Yes, is that what you're saying?
Some make, not all. I'm telling you the gospel truth. Now, do you know in Edo State today, tax, the way private school pay tax is on the increase. You don't accept. If you pay 280 this year, whether you fill your assessment form or not, next year is 300 or 320.
Yeah, because you have also increased your school fees too.
Well, no, whether you increase school fees or not. Let me use myself as an example. For the past 3 years, I have not increased school fees. But my tax increases every year. You pay tax, fine, they give you all the receipt and all that. Local government will come. Local government will have about 4 or 5 taxes they'll come and ask you. And those are the things maybe state will also come. State will come today, environmental. Local government will come tomorrow, environmental. State will come, heads. Environmental will come, heads. All those things are money.
Okay, Comrade Jude, yeah.
Yeah, now if you say you... Now, I want to liken it like a church. The churches are assemblage of people too, but they don't pay tax.
Yeah, but they make money.
No, hold on, I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
You may say they make money because it has not been established that they levy people. It has not been established that they levy people.
And they don't levy?
Nah, they don't levy. Now,
people give.
The difference between the school issue now, remember, we don't have to be pretentious. Any man that establishes a school has two motives. One, driven by passion, and the other aspect of it, the economic aspect of it. Now, if you allow the passion aspect of it to drive you, you have standard and quality.
Yes.
If you allow the economic aspect of it to pursue your desire, you now be looking at the amount of money you begin to levy people. I feel your association, if you complain about the tax challenges, you have an association. So you are duty bound to approach the government and request an audience with the government and say, this multiple taxation is a problem to us, and that is the reason why we are usually indulging in increment of fees. But what he is trying to ask is the fact that we cannot shy away from it. Average private institution is out there to make money. The extent to which they are determining to make the money is the one that affects our parents. Now, if you want to drive your educational system because of the monetary aspect and benefit of it, you begin to suffer the poor brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers out there whose economic too is not increased. Their salaries are not being increased. Their welfare and their social status are not equally being increased. But for the fact that they want to pursue education for their kids, quality education,
yeah,
you increase that for them. Now, I will appeal to you that if you feel that because of the multiple taxation, that is why you have, you said you have not increased in the last 3 years.
Yes.
But I could tell you too that there are schools that have increased every semester and every term.
I agree.
Now, so you have a union. Now, you therefore need to regulate the reasons behind why any increment should be encouraged. Now, your union should be the strongest voice than individuals that own their private schools. Now, anyone that defaults, then you will have sanction or a penalty for it.
Okay.
Can I land, please? Now, if government now sees that there is a union that regulates the activities of their body,
these are activities that we are talking about,
the fees,
school fees.
School fees. That's part of the, there's a section of it, a component of it we are discussing. And the union now says, please, for the purpose of quality education and to encourage parents to see that kids get this quality education, school fees will be within this range from now. See, you must set a benchmark. I know that the economy is equally diverse. Now you say between the next 5 years there will be no increment. And government, on your own part, we are suffering the issues of multiple taxation from local government to state and all quarters of it. Would we not come to a compromise and agree on what we should be paying and the parameters or indicators upon which each of these schools are being charged?
And Comrade Jude Magwe, at the risk of not taking words from your mouth, I think there's something that Honorable Ruben is not saying here. Now, you said that governments always increase your taxes. Governments probably react to the fact that if you told government that you had 100 students last session, this next session, government will always assess. They come, they assess, and they notice that you have 500 students now. They will increase their tax too.
Okay. wait. What of the reverse?
What is the reverse now?
You have 100 students last year, but now you have 78.
There's something is wrong with the practice.
No, my brother. Schools, listen, the way schools are, it's like a barrack.
Yeah.
Soldier go, soldier come, barrack remains. It doesn't mean you maintain 500 students at the close of last term.
What about
that
the
at
schools?
the close of this term you maintain 600?
Honorable, Mr. Ruben, what about schools that under-disclose a number of their students in the school? There are schools like that.
Yeah. Then the government visit. Personally, I tell my members, it is better you open up. You open up to fill the form you were given correctly, and you're supposed to get the correct tax to pay. Listen, I know the fact that fine, some members don't disclose the number of students, the school. I know that.
Now, in your union, how are you handling such issues?
Exactly
that's the question.
Fine. What? No, let me first of all answer. You say union regulates the school fees.
Yeah, you should have
and the increment. No, we can't do that. You know why we cannot do that? These schools varies. School A, structures or whatever school A has is more than that of school B.
Are you trying to say that you accept, Honorable, are you trying to say that you accept the fact that school A may be more standard than school B?
So yes. No, listen. What I'm trying to say is this: if you feel you can no longer cope with this school fees, you can cope with school B, isn't it? So instead of returning your child in school A, you are struggling to pay. You are complaining unnecessarily, and you know your resources can take that of school B. I advise all parents. I had a parent in my school. First term, he would not be able to pay. Second term, he will pay half of last term. So instead of today sending the child home, the child is at risk, is always on the road while others are learning. I call the parents and advise, why not take this child to that government school where they will not pay anything.
So what about the standard of the school you are moving the child? Okay, you say you are moving the child from one standard to another standard.
Yeah.
So don't you think you are equally affecting the child's psychology?
Sir, no school has no standard.
So if you agree that
no school,
let him anchor his point. I'll come to you.
No school has no standard. It varies. Okay, it's just like in anything you are doing, in any organization, in any production, all of them are standard, but the standard varies.
So that's why schools...
we are on a studio here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there are other radio or television houses, isn't it?
Yeah.
All of them are standards, two of us.
Yeah.
But the standard varies. If I have an advert to place today, I choose the one I can. And my message will be passed across to the people.
Anyway, let me pause you. Let me come to Comrade Jude Magwe. Now, we were talking about the COVID-19 situation a while ago. That is also a major issue now. Now, remember this resumption we are talking about. Parents were at sea. They were lost. You know, most parents thought that resumption was going to be on the 13th, while some other few parents were actually waiting for the announcement. As a matter of fact, about 4 to 5 parents called me on Sunday evening that they didn't get any publication from government until about some few hours, whereby the permanent secretary of Ministry of Education in Edo State had to give the order that he's giving a directive for schools to resume. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that the COVID-19 situation is a big blow on the education sector, on parents, and even on the student. Then also for government to, some people say that government is not doing enough to help the children, to help the school authority, and also to help the parents. Now, government told us in Edo State that vaccination should be a prerequisite, you know, for public life. Nobody's talking about that now. You are close to government. I want to react to some of these issues.
Now, there's one part I would disagree. You see, citizens' rights must not be trampled with. Now, when you don't compel people to be vaccinated, you educate people to be vaccinated. I have taken my double dose, and I will encourage every young man, every brother, every sister, fathers and mothers, to take vaccination serious. If it was something that was to be paid for, people would have longed for it. But since it's free, people don't do that. See, the only challenge we have is, first, the narratives around the COVID, and secondly, the government preparedness in tackling it. Now, the narratives about it initially was the fact that it was a cosmetic conversation. But these things are true and true. There is COVID, and COVID has taken the lives of so many people. Lots of us have suffered COVID. I have personally suffered it. I have personally suffered it. See, I run less than 25 kilometers every day when I started my exercise. But at that time, sometimes last year, within the month of June and July, I got into Edo, and I discovered after about 3 days, I was finding it very difficult to run a kilometer. This is me that could run 25 kilometers under 2 hours. I could run 15 kilometers in an hour, 10 minutes. but I found it very difficult to run a kilometer. At a time, it was extremely very difficult for me to breathe. As much as it was not confirmed that it was COVID, psychologically I understood that that was what I was suffering. I could not breathe freely. I was having very intense and chronic headache. And I used every other forms to see that I got myself back. And I left. Now, you see, the challenge we have in the state is, and not peculiar to Edo alone, it's a general problem. Government have ideas, government have policies based on the statistics that are available to them. And they want to design policies, but the practitioners are not carried along in the process of policy formulation. Now, if you want people to understand and agree that there is COVID and the increments, see, there is rise in number in this third wave, and what should parents do? First, personal hygiene. Now, you don't just say personal hygiene is something that government must come teach you. Parents from home must begin to practice it and teach their kids. Now, government's own responsibility is to ensure that by the time these kids are going back to school, the facilities that can assist them in carrying out this personal hygiene are present there in schools, but I'm not sure we have them. Then secondly, every father and mother should at least be able to buy a small can of hand sanitizer. Place it in the bag of your child going to school. We see, it's only in the day if you come, you find people find it very difficult to put on face masks. I keep telling my friends, I say each time I come here, it's like you guys are on sabbatical on face masks. Is it that there's suspension of the virus?
No, there is not. There is not.
So now, government again declaring that people must. I don't feel that it's proper to say people must.
Yeah, but again, we also need to look at the urgency and the seriousness of
when I'm saying
urgency,
when I'm saying urgency, we have a government that is working. We have a government that is futuristic.
In those states.
Yeah. See, we have a government that is thinking. Now, if you are thinking that there is a problem, there are critical stakeholders you must call together. You call the practitioners. Who are the practitioners in this case? People go to places of worship.
Now, perhaps, Honorable Ruben,
I'll get to him now.
Yeah.
People go to places of worship. The religious leaders, they are the practitioners. People go to schools. They have organization. The public schools have leaders. You call them. People stay in rural community. They have traditional rulers that leads them, that pilots their faith. Have a conversation with these people. See, educate them. Tell them that these are the dangers. There are two ways of leadership. You may have the transactional or the transformational. You can, in this case, adopt the transformational. Tell them the dangers and the implication of allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And tell them that there is need for people to go for this vaccination.
Okay.
People should get vaccinated. Educate them that some of these ideologies that people post on social airspace, that this vaccine is going to cause this, is going to cause this damage. These things are not true. So people hold on to these things more than what government tells them.
Beautiful. Now, Honorable Ruben, now the COVID situation he just talked about, it's where I'm going to take up from. But again, I also need you, because I have so many things here lined up as a parent that is probably going through some of these issues.
I know you're speaking from your...
Now, you see schools resume, new books and all that. I don't know what your association is doing on airing schools that tell parents, tell children that you must buy the books from our school. If you don't buy these books from our school, they are not real. You understand? So you must pay everything and get the books. And also, some schools at resumption is new school uniform. They design the uniforms in such a way that it look as if they are different. Not that they are not common, so to say. You can't find those uniforms elsewhere. Now, that's why I started by asking, what is your main aim as an association? Is it to make profit? Because that seems to be what some of your members are keen into. I need you to react to all this.
Let me start from what my friend here just said. The word must. It's not a must to buy books from a school where your children attend. It's not a must.
Is that a message? Is that the message you are preaching to your members?
Yes.
What is the level of adherence?
It's not a must. All of us attended school, whether private or public. As I speak, list of books still exists.
Correct.
You give list of books. It is not actually the outcome about school started selling books. There's an allegation one time that private school met with publishers not to be selling books at the bookshop again. Those things,
in a way, it may be correct because you go to bookshops, you don't find the books. You don't find the books.
It's not correct. How can private school meet with publishers, not one, not two, not three, not to sell their books? And also this copyright association, they came to meet me in my office. What publishers are also running from is piracy. I know of a book, I don't want to mention. If the publisher supplies you, there were two, verbal and quantitative. If the publisher supplies you, it's 1,006. 800 in verbal, 800 in quantitative.
Yeah.
But if you go to bookshop, you see that same book, the two, 500 naira.
All right.
But the issue is this: if you are using the one supplied by publisher, you get to some pages in that you bought from the bookshop, it will be blank.
You'll find mixing plate. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds
if you,
time,
as a parent, have that for your child,
and
you get from the publisher, and you are giving, for instance, go to page 35, do that as assignment or classwork, and yours is blank.
Okay.
So how would that child attend to those questions?
All right, now Comrade Jude, 30 seconds to wrap up here.
Well, the basic thing I feel I will need to appeal to parents, practitioners, teachers, guardians, before we get to government. We equally know that we have social responsibility.
Okay.
Our responsibility is to ensure that as our kids are leaving for school, we prepare them and educate them on the dangers. And young people, age young, everybody that knows is vulnerable, should access any vaccination center and get vaccinated. It is not for government, it is for your health. And you must stay alive to drive your vision.
Okay.
The government on their own must carry every critical stakeholder in formulations of policy.
All right, beautiful.
So that the implementation will be driven to the grassroots.
All right, beautiful. Honorable, 30 seconds quickly.
I want to tell school owners.
Yeah.
I want to tell our school now, please, for those
increasing school
Comrade, we have less than 30 seconds.
For those who make books compulsory in a school, should please desist from it.
Okay, beautiful.
Give parents, list of books.
Okay.
So only if they cannot get it, they come back to you.
Beautiful.
Then you tell them how much it is in a school.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Compulsory.
Thank you so much. Now, because of time,
also,
I know Comrade would like to go on and on, but because of
all
time,
schools should also adhere to COVID-19 protocols.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, thank you so much, Comrade.
Thank you.
Honorable Ruben Ifomeko, who is the chairman of National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Edo State, and also Comrade Jude Imagwe, public affairs analyst, former special assistant to the presidency on youth and students. Thank you so much, Comrade, for finding time.